Richard Boone was widely respected in Hollywood for his intensity, intelligence, and unwavering sense of personal integrity. He was not a man who blended easily into crowds or softened his opinions to maintain comfort. Those who worked with him often described him as principled to a fault, deeply committed to the craft of acting, and to a personal moral code shaped by life experience rather than studio politics. Boone believed respect was earned through conduct, not celebrity, and that belief influenced every professional relationship he formed. While he maintained many friendships and professional alliances, he also developed strong dislikes when he felt those values were violated. Over time, stories circulated about tensions between Boone and certain high-profile figures whose personalities clashed with his own. These accounts were not about petty rivalry, but about differences in worldview. To understand Boone's strong reactions, it is essential to understand the man behind the reputation and the life that shaped his uncompromising standards. Early life and formative influences. Richard Allen Boone was born on June 18, 1917, in Los Angeles, California, into a family that valued education and culture. His father, Kirk Boone, worked as a corporate lawyer, while his mother, Cecile, traced her lineage to American pioneer Daniel Boone, a fact that later fascinated the public. As a young man, Boone showed little interest in acting, instead gravitating towards sports, literature, and independent pursuits. He attended Hoover High School in Glendale before enrolling at Stanford University to study liberal arts. Though intelligent and capable, Boone found academic life restrictive and left after 2 years to seek broader experience. He worked as an oil field laborer, bartender, and painter, jobs that exposed him to working-class realities and shaped the grounded authenticity that later defined his performances. These early experiences instilled a respect for hard work and honesty that Boone carried throughout his life. War service and a changed perspective. When World War II erupted, Boone enlisted in the United States Navy, serving as an aviation ordnance man aboard aircraft carriers in the Pacific Theater. Military life brought structure, discipline, and a profound sense of responsibility. His service exposed him to danger, loss, and the seriousness of collective effort, reinforcing his belief that character mattered more than ego. Boone later spoke of the Navy as a defining chapter that sharpened his worldview and stripped away any tolerance for pretension. The experience gave him a lifelong respect for teamwork and leadership rooted in accountability. When the war ended, Boone returned to civilian life changed, searching for a path that could channel his intensity and lived experience. Acting, which once held little appeal, now seemed a meaningful way to explore human complexity. The discipline and seriousness he gained during the war would become foundational elements of both his acting style and personal philosophy. Training, theater, and early film work. After the war, Boone moved to New York City and enrolled at the Actors Studio, studying under Stella Adler alongside a generation of performers committed to emotional truth and psychological depth. He began his career on the stage, performing in Broadway productions and touring theater companies where his commanding presence quickly stood out. Hollywood soon took notice, leading to his film debut in Halls of Montezuma in 1951. Throughout the 1950s, Boone appeared in a wide range of films, including The Robe, The Tall T, and various war dramas and crime thrillers. His rugged voice, imposing stature, and thoughtful performances distinguished him from conventional leading men. Boone did not chase stardom. Instead, he focused on roles that offered substance. His reputation grew steadily as a dependable actor who brought seriousness and depth to every project. Have gun will travel and lasting fame. Boone's defining role arrived in 1957 when he was cast as Paladin in the CBS Western Have Gun Will Travel. Dressed in black and armed with both a pistol and a sharp intellect, Paladin was unlike typical Western heroes. Boone infused the character with sophistication, moral ambiguity, and literary intelligence, often quoting philosophy or poetry before drawing a gun. The series ran for 6 seasons and became one of the most acclaimed television shows of its era. Boone was deeply involved in shaping the character and frequently collaborated on scripts to explore themes of justice, honor, and ethical complexity. The role cemented his status as a television icon while reinforcing his belief that entertainment should challenge audiences rather than simply comfort them. For Boone, Have Gun Will Travel was not just a success, but a creative statement about responsibility and choice. Later, career and creative independence. Following the series, Boone continued to take on challenging projects that reflected his artistic priorities. He starred in The Richard Boone Show, an ambitious anthology series that allowed him to portray different characters each week. Though short-lived, it was praised for its originality and bold storytelling. His later film work included Rio Conchos, The Kremlin Letter, and Big Jake, followed by The Shootist, where he appeared alongside John Wayne in Wayne's final film. Boone moved to Hawaii in the late 1960s, seeking distance from Hollywood's pressures. There, he embraced a quieter lifestyle, taught drama at the University of Hawaii, and mentored younger actors. His career choices reflected independence rather than ambition. Boone valued creative integrity above visibility, a stance that further distinguished him from more publicity-driven contemporaries. Personal life and family stability. Boone's personal life unfolded in distinct chapters, marked by 3 marriages. His first 2 marriages, to Jane Hopper and Mimi Kelly, ended relatively quickly during periods of transition in his early adulthood. In 1951, he married Claire McAloon, a union that brought lasting stability and companionship. Their marriage endured for 3 decades until Boone's death, weathering the demands of his career and relocations. Together, they had 1 son, Peter Boone, who appeared briefly as a child actor on Have Gun Will Travel. Though Peter later chose a different path, those appearances reflected a close father-son bond. Boone valued family life deeply and guarded it from public intrusion. Despite his stern public image, friends described him as loyal and protective of those closest to him. Family provided Boone with grounding and balance amid a demanding professional life. Strong opinions and industry tensions. Richard Boone was not known for diplomacy when it came to matters of principle. He believed acting was a collaborative art and expected mutual respect on set, regardless of status. When he encountered behavior, he felt undermined that ideal. He did not hide his disapproval. Over the years, accounts emerged of Boone clashing with certain prominent figures whose personalities and working styles conflicted with his values. One such tension, often discussed quietly among industry insiders, involved contrasting approaches to fame, authority, and collaboration. Boone was deeply uncomfortable with excessive self-promotion or domineering behavior, viewing it as harmful to creative environments. These differences were philosophical rather than competitive. Boone's reactions reflected his belief that talent did not excuse arrogance. While he rarely spoke publicly about specific individuals, those close to him understood that his strongest criticisms were reserved for conduct he believed compromised integrity and respect. Values, legacy, and perspective. To Boone, success was not measured by box office numbers or celebrity status, but by whether one conducted oneself honorably. He admired discipline, humility, and loyalty, traits he associated with his military service and early working life. When confronted with attitudes he felt prioritized ego over collaboration, Boone chose distance rather than compromise. This stance sometimes cost him opportunities, but he accepted that trade-off willingly. Boone never viewed disagreement as scandal. He saw it as a natural consequence of standing firmly by one's beliefs. His legacy reflects that consistency. He left behind not just memorable performances, but a reputation for seriousness and artistic courage. Boone represented an era of actors who viewed their work as craft rather than spectacle. Even his conflicts, when examined closely, reveal less about animosity and more about an unwavering commitment to personal standards. Final years and a fitting farewell. Richard Boone passed away on January 10, 1981, at the age of 63, after a battle with throat cancer. The illness gradually robbed him of his powerful voice, a loss that was deeply personal for an actor defined by speech and presence. Boone faced his final months with dignity, choosing privacy over public attention. In accordance with his wishes, his ashes were scattered in the Pacific Ocean near Hawaii, a place he loved for its beauty and tranquility. The gesture reflected his lifelong connection to nature, independence, and the sea. Boone's passing marked the end of a remarkable career that spanned theater, film, and television. Today, he is remembered not only as Paladin, but as an actor of conviction whose life and work were guided by principle rather than popularity.